On this episode of Game Shack, I'm going to give my 2 cents about Arcade1up Screen Gate. I'm going to give you the cheapest, easiest way to modify your Gen 1 legacy control deck so you don't have to bump your wrist up against that ridge. I'm going to ask you guys what your theory is of your own arcades. How do you treat your arcade machines? And I'm going to tell you guys why I moved into these new snazzier digs for Game Shack. All that and more coming up next. Hey everybody, welcome on back into Game Shack Part 2. I'm your host JDV for Evil Genius Entertainment. If you haven't already checked out some of our narrative work like 5 Must Die or our zombie show Reanimated, I encourage you to do so. We put a lot of time and effort into those. We don't have a lot of money to spend, but anyway, if you're bored, go ahead and check those out. All right, so it's the last day of June 2022 as I record this episode, and for about a week now, people have been getting their Arcade1up legacy cabs, specifically the Mortal Kombat version, and there's been a lot of talk in the community, of course, about Screen Gate. And what Screen Gate is, in case you don't know, is essentially they downgraded the quality of the screen from the Generation 1 legacy cabinets and basically the Gen 3 cabs that we've seen previously. They're called the BOE monitor. They've downgraded that to a monitor either seen in the first gen of Arcade1up machines or very similar to that. That combined with spotty online play, and I'll talk about that in a second, has left a lot of people really disappointed because the build quality of these Gen 2 legacy cabs seems to be really good. They're a little bit taller. I think they're 2-3 inches taller thanks to an integrated riser in there. They have really good looking artwork. Dig Dug looks amazing. Joust looks really incredible. The Mortal Kombat cab looks great. So you have a lot of people who were maybe on the fence are now jumping off the fence and now are not going to buy it solely because of the monitor. And I have a couple thoughts about that. One, you could see maybe the disappointment being a lot less if these Gen 2 legacy cabs were $400, but they're not. They're $500, and they're probably going to sit at that for at least 3 or 4 months, if not longer. So the screens in the Gen 2 cabs are worse for a couple of reasons. One, if you're not directly facing the cab, so if you're kind of off to the side, say in a 2-player game, or if you're watching the game, the colors will fade and you'll have a lot worse quality. The overall quality of the picture is worse as well because you don't have those nice crushed blacks. You don't have the crispy black colors that you get, the deep, rich colors that you get in this BOE monitor set in the Gen 1 legacy cabs. Both screens are approximately 17 inches across, and both screens are obviously playable in the words of B. Kong. So, you know, depending on how much you want that screen to look perfect, is really going to affect how you choose to do this. Now, so all that said, it really is very disappointing that we don't have the same monitor in these new Gen 2 cabs, or vice versa, why I maybe could have accepted a little lower quality in screen if we had 2 more inches. In other words, if these were 19-inch monitors, but maybe not quite as crispy and nice as the BOEs, but you're getting 2 more inches diagonally, well, okay, I could have maybe handled that. But because they didn't do that, they retrograded the screen, a lot of people are upset. But even though I really do want a better quality screen in this, that is actually not the killer thing for me in terms of picking up one of these legacy cabs. It's the fact that the online play is not what I hoped it would be. And that's because there's no way to spectate, there is no lobby, and for like the Namco version of this, really all you can do is put your high scores on. You can't even play other people in that cab. I don't know that you can in the Atari cab as well. So while it is super cool for the idea that you might be able to play 4 people in Gauntlet, that is the only way to really realistically do it, at least through A1up. Is that enough for me to pay $500? It's just not. And I'm very disappointed that there's no lobby, and very disappointed that there's no way to spectate, because I'm not that great of a Mortal Kombat player, but I would sure like to see other people who are good. I'd love to be able to see people like Zohar and all, you know, and talk a lot of smack and get up there and whoop on people. I'd love to be able to watch that, but I can't. And that's something I can't fix. That's something that I can't upgrade myself. You can upgrade the sticks, you can fix control panels, you can switch out marquees, heck, you can switch out the whole art, you can build your own risers. There's all ways that you can modify your A1up cabs, but what you cannot do is change the online play. And that to me is really disappointing, because when you get right down to it, that is the killer app of these Gen 2 cabs. Yes, it's nice to have better art. Yes, it's nice that they fixed the really weird decision on the control deck from the Gen 1 legacy cabs, but not to have those modes in the online play really is disappointing. And for me, it is the one reason for sure that I will not be buying these cabs unless we see a firmware fix down the road, which is technically possible. I get the feeling that some people are gonna buy it just because of the way the cab looks, you know, the brilliant marquee and the ability to play online. But for a lot of people, the combination of price, downgraded screen, and disappointing online play is gonna keep a lot of people not from buying this cab. Let me know what you guys think down below. I really am interested. Okay, so regardless of what you think about the Gen 2 cabs, you can of course still pick up the Gen 1 legacy cabs with that much better monitor, albeit no printed 3D coin door and no online play. However, you can fix the control deck issues, which is really the main issue in those Gen 1 cabs, in a very simple way, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, someone complained that my little fix will lead to excessive wear, particularly on the red trim that is next to this control panel. Now, the only thing I can say to that is this: I treat my arcade machines like they're in an arcade. So what does that mean? Well, that means I put my beer up on the control panels, I put my jazz cigarettes up on my control panels. You know, I don't baby my machines. I drill into them. I abuse the heck out of my machines. I do not treat them kindly. I hit my machines when I lose sometimes. I mean, I'm not afraid to wear and tear on those machines. And to me, that fits the aesthetic of the original arcades. I mean, if you really remember what those arcade machines look like in your local 7-Eleven or your local bar, or if you were lucky enough to have a big arcade by you, those machines were beat to hell. All of them had faded graphics, faded marquees. A lot of times there'd be burn-in on those screens. And the way I look at it, I can always replace this control panel down the line. Either I can make my own, or I can get one from one of the at least 3 or 4 very reputable, very good quality places like 99 Arcade, DIY Retro, Tulsa Arcades. They all make very nice, very beautiful looking control panels that would either just simply replace what I have now or make it better because it's wider, deeper, whatever. So I don't worry about that. And in fact, you can see right here, this is my Space Invader control deck. And not only have I sawed into it and put a whole bunch of other holes in it, you can very clearly see the wear and tear from people's wrists or hands on the machine. And to me, that just makes the machine look more legitimate. It almost makes it look more like a real arcade machine as opposed to a pristine, just assembled out of the box Arcade1up machine. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know down below how you treat your machines. Do you hit them? Do you really baby them? Now, the only thing that I really do try to do if I have them is if I do have an acrylic deck protector, I try not to crack them, you know, by over tightening the screws. Other than that, it's anything goes. Okay, without further ado, let me show you this really cheap, really easy way to fix up your control deck for your Gen 1 legacy cabs. It is about the easiest way I can possibly think of to fix this cab. Now, if you can look at it right now, the way I have it, it is almost exactly flush with this trim. And yes, I do expect that I will wear off this trim, but you know, you can actually buy this trim on Amazon for like $5 or $6 and retrim it if you want. You can actually get this chrome looking stuff. You can get a different color. So it's not like you can't replace this trim even if you do wear on it. It does have a nice deck protector that does come with the stock Legacy 1 cabs. And so I have tried to protect that. All right, but anyway, what you do is you just simply pull off the deck. And one more. All right, so I'm gonna try to pull this straight up just so I don't break what I've already kind of got in here. And here we go. And there you go. You can hopefully see what I've done here. I've just taken these very small nuts, right? Just a standard little nut. And I place them on all 4 holes that your screws go into. And that's it. It gives me enough space that it raises it up perfectly level. Now, you can either get, let's see if I can get this in frame it. Now you can either get a nut that fits this perfectly and just screw it up here, which is maybe what I should have done, or I just have this one that just sits on here like this and it slides on and off. Either way is your choice. So you could experiment with the width of these. This, I want to say, is about a 1/2 inch nut, something like that. A little less than that maybe. And that's it. That is the dead simplest way I can think of to raise up this control deck. Should cost you less than $2 to do it if you had to buy them new. I just had them laying here. Now you will have a gap here to be sure. And I'm going to replace this with a different J panel that I just cut out of there. Or I'm going to put an LED strip here, and just so I can have red coming out of there. I haven't quite decided yet. Anymore, I'm going to have a lot more mods coming up for this machine. Okay. And that's it. I mean, it really is just as simple as that. And to me, it's played perfectly. It's made playing a 2-player game a million times easier because you can come off to the side now. I just played a couple of games with my brother Chris, who is taller than me. He's 6'2", 6'3", and we both fit around the machine well enough that we could get in a couple of fun games. Now, if we were really getting serious about it, I probably would extend out this deck or get a wider deck, but for now, because it's primarily a 1-person game, I actually really do like this deck. I mean, it really is perfect for 1-player games. All right, to wrap up the episode, are you guys gonna buy these Gen 2 cabs, or are you gonna kind of wait on the fence and see if they come down in price? Again, if these things come down to $400 or $450, I think that does make a big difference in terms of disappointment in terms of quality of the screen and online playing like this. On the other hand, maybe you think this is all just a little overblown. The screen looks good enough. The online gaming does work. It will be super cool to play people in Mortal Kombat and fight them, and to be in big multiplayer games like Gauntlet. That is a really slick feature. The cabinets look absolutely fantastic. They're taller, their marquees are better, the control decks are better, and yeah, you get a printed 3D coin door that looks absolutely fantastic, really even better than some of the mods that you can get from these other places. So there are lots of reasons to be interested in this generation legacy cab, the second variety of them. It's just, it's not quite perfect, and that's really what I need in a cab that I now already own the first version of. All right, so if you like this show, if you like this kind of content, please give me a thumbs up on the way out the door. It really does help. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you know when I put up new videos. Love each other. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the Game Shack. Mwah! Be sure to visit evilgeniusentertainment.com for exclusive content, swag, casting call news, and much, much more.